the desert of Arizona lies Sedona Margo, a wellness center. Sedona Margo's Finding True Self Retreat program opens the spiritual journey to uncover who you are behind your title, degrees, bank accounts, heritage, and accomplishments. In 2021, a woman named Kouri Richins visited Sedona Margo and completed an About Me assignment where she used the front and back to write her life story. Less than a year later, she poisoned her husband. To summarize the text she wrote about her childhood, she moved to 17 different states in a span of 6 years. Growing up with an alcoholic father in prison for hitting a police officer while driving, she was raised by her gambling addict mother. She talks about spending weekends in casino hotels and their homes constantly being foreclosed on. Because of this rough upbringing, she desired to have a stable life. She graduated high school at 17 and went to college. Kouri feels as though she has a hole within her. She had her first child in 2012 and would marry her husband in 2013. She says she fell in love with the idea of having kids and having a stable life. She then had her second child in 2014 because she told herself, "Another baby will make me happy." She then in 2017 goes to graduate school to try to fill the void. During her schooling, she had her third son. From here is when she says her life started to spiral downhill. She has a constant need to chase happiness. She's tired of hearing from her husband, "You're selfish, you're not enough, you need me." Did you notice she did not mention Eric's name once? She signs the assignment not including her last name. At this point of time, she is 100% checked out of the marriage and her family. Why wouldn't she just get a divorce? Great question. That's because in 2013, she would sign a prenup that protected Eric's assets and his stonemasonry business. He went through a nasty divorce in 2009 before meeting Kouri, working as a cashier at Home Depot. Eric Richins was known for being a loving father and friend to all. He loved being a dad. He coached all of his children's sports teams and he provided for his family. Eric owned a very successful business and it is said he was very business savvy. Interestingly enough, Kouri starts her own business in 2019 called Kouri Richins Reality. The plan is to buy and flip houses. It is not very successful. From January 2021 to March 2022, Kouri Richins allegedly attempted 236 overdraft transactions, amounting to more than $300,000. The account incurred almost $6,000 in fees from rejected transactions. There's a white well on the horizon for Kouri. There is a property known as the Midway Mansion. There's a lot of controversy around this property. It had been abandoned due to a previously undue death, and the original owner abandoned the property. The finished mansion was planned to have a rock wall, a pool, an exercise room, all fit into 20,000 square feet. Kouri had grand dreams to live in the guest house and rent out the mansion for events. Eric was against purchasing the mansion. The day after Eric was murdered, he was planning on telling Kouri that he would not sign off on the house. A private investigator would later say that they were arguing about the purchase of the property. Maybe this $1 million home will fill that hole inside of you, Kouri. Eric is 1,000% correct. You are selfish. On March 2022, a 911 call was made out of the Richins' home.
911, what's the address of the emergency? My husband's not breathing. He's cold. Okay, what's the address? I have the ambulance on the way. I just need you to do this, okay, so we can get the help for him. Okay. Okay, start counting out loud so I can count with you, okay? We're gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count out loud so I can hear you. I'm counting with you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The weirdest thing about the phone call was it did not seem Kouri was performing CPR when the operator instructed her to. I feel so bad for the kids that were present at the home as the emergency personnel went in and out of the home. Later, At around 9 a.m., just about 5 hours after she sends or receives these 3 gifts. On March 5th, 2022, she signed the contract on the house. Because he was under 40 when he died, he had to undergo an autopsy. It was shown that he had 5 times the lethal amount of fentanyl in his system. It is suspected she laced the Moscow Mule before going off to sleep in her children's room. 2 days after Eric died, Kouri punched Amy over disputes over the safe in the house. Kouri did drill into the safe, and she took anywhere from around $125,000 to $165,000 out of his safe. On March 9th, 2022, prosecutors claim Kouri Richins obtained fentanyl a 3rd time. On March 12th, 2022, a week after she acquired the mansion, Kouri Richins tried to sell the mansion. Although a few offers were made, all of them fell through, and the property eventually foreclosed. Later, she sued the Richins estate and Eric's sister, Katie, for $300,000. Eric's family had already suspected Kouri was behind his death. According to Eric's family, their marriage was not going well. From an earlier poisoning attempt on a trip to Greece and on Valentine's Day 2022, Kouri's family and the defense team would later try to say Eric had a hidden drug problem. They really tried to link gummies as a gateway to fentanyl. However, nobody was buying that. This was an active father and successful businessman. This was not a man strung out on drugs. Eric had 6 life insurance policies taking him out on him, totaling $3 million. Kouri would forge the signatures. The reason you might have heard of this murder is because she wrote a children's book to help the children process their grief, titled Are You With Me? She went on the Utah talk show Good Things Utah. In the interview, she said it was co-written by her and her children. It would later be revealed in court she hired a ghostwriter. This is what she would say. Is Dad with us during birthday parties or Christmas? Or, is Dad with us? Because they're going through the sadness of knowing that it's just, he's not here presently. Richins said, right? So we wrote this book and we're really hoping that it provides some comfort for not just obviously our family, but other families that are going through the same thing. The book since then has been pulled from everywhere. You are not able to purchase this book. The only resource I was able to find is a channel that reads children's books. It is disturbing that she would want to profit from the murder of the father of her kids, and then to create a children's book for her kids about their deceased father. It is truly sick on another level. I don't think she felt love for her kids, especially with the way she wrote about her kids while in Sedona. The book wasn't for her sons. It was a marketing tool for the character she was playing as a grieving widow. Days after her arrest, the Summit police station was sent a mysterious package from Amazon. Inside was a copy of Are You With Me? And inside was left a note that read, There are 2 sides to every story. This is the true Kouri, a devoted wife and adoring mother. Thought you should know. From Anonymous. The police department would subpoena Amazon and found out that Kouri Richins' mother, Lisa Darwin, sent the book. Lisa is a strange person. Of course, we know that she has a gambling problem, but something you probably didn't know about her is that she had a partner in 2006 who passed away in similar circumstances as Eric. This information would be revealed by the unsealed search warrant. Like mother, like daughter, I suppose. And who came quickly to Kouri's side during the night Eric was poisoned? Lisa. O'Driscoll wrote in the search warrant, based on Lisa's proximity to her partner's suspicious overdose death and her relationship with Kouri, it is possible she was involved in planning and orchestrating Eric's death. She was very outspoken the entire time that her daughter was innocent. Lisa would claim that Eric was having an affair. There is no evidence that Eric was engaged in an affair. But you know who was having an affair? Kouri, with a man named Josh Grossman. Grossman would testify against Kouri in court. Listen, I feel bad for Grossman. He was having an affair with Kouri while she was married, However, I do not believe that he was clued in that Kouri was going to poison Eric. It's hard for me to listen to him testify. It's clear that he wished he wasn't having to. Kouri had plans to create a whole line of children's books, with the sequel being Mom, How Far Away is Heaven? She really wants to be an author. However, it seems like the next random body of work that gets media attention is called Walk the Dog. A letter in jail seems to outline how Lisa and her brother need to testify on the stand in order for her defense to have the best chance. This letter did not do any favors for her defense team. It is this letter that turned the whole world against her. Most, if not all, people saw this letter for what it was. Witness tampering. Kouri wanted Lisa to tell her brother Rodney to lie under oath. She wanted Rodney to testify that he saw Eric buying pills in Mexico. Lisa said everything in the letter was true. And then in jail, Kouri had to call Lisa and say it was all part of a fictional work. While in jail, she also had grand ideas of turning her arrest into a documentary and finding another way to profit from the death of Kouri Richins. While in court, witnesses said that Kouri looked small and meek. Everyone involved felt bad that there were 3 kids that lost both parents, of course, in different ways. Before Kouri's arrest, she was using her kids against the Richins family. They weren't allowed to be around the kids unless they were doing favors for Kouri. There are reports that Kouri was showing up to the kids' soccer team intoxicated, and people were afraid for the safety of the children. Once Kouri was arrested, the kids were placed into the Richins family for emergency custody. Lisa, the gambling addict, was quoted as saying,
"Whoever ends up with the boys ends up with the money.
Because that money is for the boys to have a good future. It's not for you to gamble, Lisa." How despicable. I wonder, and this is just speculation, how much money has Kouri given to Lisa the past few years? I think Lisa was thinking she was also going to profit greatly from Eric's death. And remember when I said Kouri sent or received the gifts? Is it really that crazy to think that they were sent to Lisa? The prosecution's team goal with their case was the idea that Kouri and Kouri alone was the only one who committed this murder. They took the facts of Eric's death, fentanyl, and worked backwards from there. They brought a person nicknamed CL to the stand. She worked in the Richins' home as a housekeeper. CL has had a long run of drug charges, and Kouri purchased the fentanyl pills for $900. Phone records show that the purchase happened February 11th. A week later, Kouri called CL and she said that she needed stronger drugs, and she would later pay $1,300 for stronger drugs. It seems as though CL had guilt about the whole situation because she was not present at Eric's funeral. Also, this is speculative, but now that the verdict is out, I don't think it's a far leap. We live in 2026, and everything you do with your phone is recorded, and you better believe that they took her phone. And it was here where her web of lies really unraveled. Just wait until you find out what her Google searches were. Lethal doses of fentanyl. Can the FBI recover deleted messages? How long does it take for life insurance to pay? My favorite moment from the trial was when Private Investigator Todd was called to the stand. He was first hired by the Richins family when Kouri first sued the Richins. In court, he showed up with a cane and a neck brace, still recovering from a major surgery. He did a thorough investigation, and this guy really knows his stuff. If you choose to watch anything from the trial, I would strongly recommend watching Todd completely own the defense. In an Emily D. Baker interview, he talks about how Kouri called him on January 23rd. Kouri called Todd because she figured out Todd was calling business associates. Kouri forgot to tell her defense team that she did in fact call him. There is a lot to be desired when it comes to the defense. One thing I really appreciate about the true crime circles I engage with is they really care about the right to a fair trial. The prosecutors need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt for a criminal conviction. The defense team chose not to call any witnesses to the stand, and Kouri chose to waive her right to testify. In interviews with the jury, they were really hoping to hear what Kouri wanted to say. The jury was attentive, taking notes, and really trying to adhere to the written law. They truly did not want to vote Kouri guilty, as that would mean her 3 sons would lose both of their parents. However, the prosecution was able to show that all signs point to Kouri. Kouri did this to herself, and her choices alone are what put her in prison. In a cosmic turn of fate, Kouri will be sentenced on May 13th on Eric's birthday. It's 25 years or life. Thanks for watching ChalkLine.